It's one of Utah's oldest cases involving a missing person. Back in 1964, a 15-year-old boy left his home in Salt Lake City for a hike with two dogs.
They simply vanished, and for decades his family has tried to learn what happened to him. Each missing person has a family, and for them the search continues. Here's ABC4's Marcos Ortiz with tonight's Missing in Utah.
It's been 57 years since that day Reed Jepson and his dogs simply vanished. But for her sister, Suzanne Tate, she's been reliving that moment nearly all her life.
Because of the nature of the case and the details, I can't get into that specifically, but enough of a tip that it was worth coming out here with some cadaver dogs and checking into it and digging.
It's September 2012, and Salt Lake City police are looking for bones. In 1964, Reed Jepson disappears. He tells his sister he's leaving to feed his two dogs. The digging is at a gully where the Jepson family lives.
We live not far from here. We lived a half a block from here.
Reed Jepson grows up in a large Salt Lake City family. His father is a prominent doctor. At the time of his disappearance, Reed's a sophomore at East High School. His sister still recalls that day.
He came into the kitchen and opened a can of dog food, and I says, "Where are you going?" And he says, "I'm going to go feed the dogs." I said, "Well, hurry back because we're going to have dinner in a half hour." And he says, "Oh, I'll be back." Walked out the door, and we never saw or heard from him again.
With no sign of him, the family files a police report, and the search for Reed Jepson begins. Police in 3 states are on the lookout for the Eagle Scout team. He's last seen with 2 dogs and $60 in savings. 10 days pass, and there's still no leads. There's reports of people seeing the dogs. It's a false lead. Police in Missouri are notified he's going there, but there's no truth to it. By late November, police are still investigating his disappearance. Police tell reporters there's been no indication of foul play in Jepson's disappearance. And soon, anguish replaces the happiness once seen in the Jepson family.
When you have someone missing, the missing person isn't the only victim. The whole family starts to suffer. First there's worry, and then that kind of turns into frustration. And after years and years, despair sets in.
The case remains open for a few more years, and eventually it turns into a cold case. But then, that tip in 2012 gives it a new life.
Anytime I hear there are remains found, I'm on the phone. I know he wants to be found.
Found at that site in 2012, but did they belong to Reed's 2 dogs? Tomorrow, in part 2 of our story, the search for his answers. For Missing in Utah, Marcos Ortiz, ABC4 News.